On our drive to a family reunion in Mexico, my grandma suddenly went pale and whispered, "Stop, turn the car around. Right now." I froze confused. This story, it's about the moment I realized my own family, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally, were willing to destroy my life and even murder my grandmother for money. It was a gut punch, a betrayal so profound it changed everything I thought I knew about blood, loyalty, and what truly makes a family. My name is Marco Navarro, and I'm 34 now, a mechanic, and the proud owner of a small garage out in Flagstaff, Arizona. Here the red dirt roads stretch out under the San Francisco peaks, and the wind always smells of pine. My life today is pretty simple. The satisfying clang of tools, the familiar scent of engine oil, and quiet evenings with black coffee in my small rented house. But that's today. The story I'm about to tell you takes us back 7 years, when I was 27, and my entire world started to tilt in a direction I could never have imagined. I grew up in a Mexican-American family, one where tradition and duty were supposedly held above all else. My father, Mateo, was a businessman, running the civil construction company my grandfather, Julio, had built. Grandpa Julio passed away long ago, leaving everything to my grandmother, Beatrick. Dad ran the company with an iron hand, always talking about legacy. My mother, Adriana, was a homemaker, but don't let that gentle facade fool you. She was sharp, calculating, managing every penny, living in Scottsdale, this wealthy Phoenix suburb with lavish homes and golf courses. And then there was me. I was always the odd one out. From a young age, I just didn't fit. My parents wanted me to study business to take over the company, but I just wanted to take things apart and fix them. From a neighbor's rusty bicycle to a broken truck engine. I loved the feeling of independence, of creating something with my own hands without relying on the Navarro name or our family's wealth. That made me a stranger in my own home. My parents saw me as a failure. "Marco, you can't live like a mechanic your whole life," my father once yelled at me at dinner. I just bowed my head, bit back the words, and left the table. Right after high school, I moved out, took a technical course, found work in Flagstaff, a few hours' drive from Scottsdale. I rarely visited home, not because I didn't want to, but because every time I did, I felt the coldness in their eyes. They never said it aloud, but I knew they were ashamed. A grown son who didn't fit the mold, who lacked ambition, who didn't want to flaunt the family name. "You should learn to network, Marco," my mother once said, her voice gentle but sharp as a knife. "You can't keep living like a loner." I'd force a faint smile, nod, and make an excuse to leave early. My grandmother, Beatrice, was the only person in that whole family who made me feel understood, even if just a little. She lived with my parents in Scottsdale, following tradition, children caring for their aging parents. She was a petite woman with snow-white hair, her eyes radiating kindness but also this quiet resilience. She'd often tell me stories about my grandfather, about their younger days in Mexico, building a life from nothing. But even with Grandma living in their grand house, something felt off. There was an invisible distance between her and my parents, as if they kept her there out of duty, or for something larger I hadn't yet understood. When I did visit, Grandma would pull me out to the backyard, to her small flower garden. She'd show me each cactus, each cluster of wildflowers, and tell me stories I'd heard since childhood, but never tired of. "Marco, you're like your grandfather," she'd say, her voice warm and steady. "He too liked to do things himself without waiting for handouts." Full story on the channel. Link below. Click now and watch what happened next.